What's going on, guys? So today on Game and Review, we are going to be fragging guys with the hand grenades, and this is, well, that was amateur hour, because that thing isn't even cooked. Too raw, man. You got to hold on to those until they're nice and juicy, and then you want to serve them to somebody. And once this dish gets out there, there's no takesy backsies, and the good thing about hand grenades is, like, unlike some of the other ordinances, you do have a lot of control of this one, and it's also one of those ordinances that does kill people. It's not like an arc grenade, a gravity star. Fire stars will kill people, but those are pretty hard to hit, actually, so the frag grenade has that nice balance of control and just deadly blasts. Like, the blast radius on these things is really generous, so I've been using it a lot in my games lately, and I finally got used to using the tactical that gives you extra grenades, but then it gives you this weird blue line. And personally, I used to find it really... Oh, that was mega kill. I don't even know what those means. Is that 4? I need an announcer that really gets me jacked up. Maybe I need to switch factions. I don't know what's going on there, because I need definitely way more out of my announcer. He is not calling these plays out right. He's got to get this crowd in there. Let me show you guys another flank route, and I'm already going to start cooking my grenade. It takes about 4 seconds, so this is like making a microwavable dinner. It's easy. Anybody can do it. Make sure to time those out, because the worst thing that can happen is you blow your arms off. And I've been saying this for a couple of videos, that once you get your mobility up and you start flanking people, the game just looks funny from this perspective, because everything just looks so easy because they're not looking at you. And sometimes it is that some players are bad, but this just adds to the problem. When you're this quick and you know how to use all your weapons, you're going to be able to get a lot out of Titanfall. I'm still loving the grappling hook. Screw everybody else. I'm in love with this tactical. But I am going to throw some phase shift in here because I have been changing between the two, and I've had some time again to reflect on these abilities. It's nice to go back between abilities because then it helps me compare them. Somebody that just specializes in one ability is not actually going to be able to see all the balance because you're not quite as familiar with it as you would be if you actually start using everything. Anyways, we're going to leave that balance talk again for another video, but we're going to go back to hand grenades. So what I like doing for these videos is not just showing you guys single clips. I want you guys to see a real flow of how you use hand grenades to get the most out of them. So right here, this is positional awareness. There's a dropship. There are my guys. Why would they spawn there? More than likely, they're behind me or somewhere from there. That's just, you gotta play to everything that you have if you want to get more out of your game. Now, you see these guys on the radar? A lot of people like to camp this window, so I'm already ready with a grenade. Once I see them, I can start timing it out on how I want to throw these. And something about the grenades is that the longer you hold them, the smaller the radius around you gets. Every second that goes by means that the people have to be a lot closer to you, and these are decisions that you can make just on the fly. Like, there's a couple of guys I could hit right now, but I'm gonna end up with this guy because he's gonna go away. This guy's probably gonna stay here. I thought about throwing it at the person at the door, but by the time I saw him, there's a chance that the grenade was gonna detonate before him. And these are really like quick decisions, but the more that you start using these grenades, the better you're gonna be with them. So everyone's right over there. I'm gonna show you this trick right here. And so I don't run into this bar down here, I'm holding back on my left joystick right now. I'm holding straight back, and that's how you make it so it doesn't run you under there. I've been paying attention to what my hands have been doing, so that video is going to be coming out probably within the next week. I'm also going to put out the other mobility video because I still think that that's probably the most important part to this. All the weapons and all the ordnance, they're just not as good if you don't have the mobility behind them. I saw on Reddit that some guy started throwing satchel charges at his feet. I actually have not tried it with a grenade, and now I'm doing the video. Damn it. Alright, I'm going to add that to the end. We'll see how well that works, but one thing I did notice was that it does hurt you a lot, so that's the downside to that. Now, here's a little quick mistake. You cannot use your tactical if it uses your hand and then also hold a grenade, so you end up losing the grenade. And I could probably do this all day. If these guys stay in here and they're just going to let me huck grenades at them, I'm probably going to be able to get a few kills. I'm not sure how this guy actually ends up getting away. Nothing happened on the kill feed, so no one else killed him. I assume he phase shift, or sometimes the grenades end up in like a little corner, or I've noticed that they don't do full damage if you're lagging, by the way. I was lagging one day, Michelle was watching Netflix, and I was not getting, like, constant grenade damage was not killing people. It would just leave them, like, really low. And again, it's too raw. You gotta hold on to those grenades to make them worthwhile. By the way, I'm gonna hear this guy. I don't know if anybody notices him, but you can see that you get a hit marker if you hit them with the actual grenade. And we're gonna hit another guy with the grenade, and I don't notice if it actually does any damage. I haven't killed anybody like that, but I'm gonna keep my eye out for it. Hate guys who want to hang out on top. I pretty much make it my mission to get rid of them, because it's true that this is a power position, and it works really well for practically every ordnance. It's also good for obviously any kind of explosives. That's why people are always flying from on top when they're trying to use any of those grenadier weapons. No one's gonna make it to the dropship if I can help it. And the good thing about Titanfall 2 is that, unlike Titanfall 1, you get unlimited grenades. There was no regeneration in the first one. You can get 2 up to 3 with the perk. and then you have to get into your Titan if you wanted more. So in Pilot versus Pilot, it would be just 2 grenades. That's it, that's all. But what that means in Titanfall 2 is that I can get 15 kills in a game by just throwing grenades. It is actually that good. If you want to specialize with grenades, it's a viable option. So let me tell you something about the blue line. If you have it, there's going to be another example of this. When you have the blue line and you're trying to make really far shots, it actually throws you off, because if you take the time to look at the blue line, by then the radius is too small and you're not going to land that range. So that's the fine line between actually trying to aim it and just throwing it out of instinct. And sometimes you have to just use your instincts. If not, you can't get that far. So the aim, sometimes you don't get the chance. You literally just have to do the throwing animation. Otherwise, timing out throws is really the basis of this, and once you can do that, you're going to be able to cover a ton of positions. And the things to do to correct your throws are either jump backwards, jump forwards. Elevation is usually always a good tactic to use when throwing grenades, just being above people. Throwing them up is technically harder. This caught me completely by surprise and put a smile on my face. I have not seen this weapon in a while, at least not since its glory days. This is the Sidewinder. In Titanfall 1 that was great for anti-Titans, and it actually hurt pilots. I did a whole video on it. This thing was absolutely amazing, and now it's just sad to see. And this L-Star as well, man. I still enjoy it. I can make far shots with it. People don't think you can, but just like grenades, you can really get some good range out of this if you're willing to put some time into it. Now, when I saw this guy at the bottom, this is actually an easy grenade throw to make, because when you're throwing down, it's a lot easier than trying to throw up, which is what I do every time I get killed by a pilot sentry. Now, let me show you what happens here. I end up panicking, and that's one of the worst things that you can do in Titanfall, because it is so fast, it's really easy to get frazzled. Every so often, things are going according to plan, and honestly, when I missed that grenade, I didn't know what to do next. But after he killed me, I definitely had a plan to get back at him. And the revenge kills with the grenades are probably some of the best, because if you time it out well, there's a really small window to dodge them. Even for phase shift, it can be hard when you time it out really well. Usually it's better if you hit them right in front, which means your timing has to be better, because if it blows up behind them, that means they saw the indicator longer and they have more time to phase shift out of it. Now this guy on top of the rock is gonna have a huge bruise, because he ends up taking one of the frag grenades right to the head. It'd be really neat actually if it gave you some sort of concussion effect where they can't move for a moment. Now let me tell you something about the combo that I'm using. If you are using phase shift or stim or something like that with your grenades, and you actually put on the Ordnance kit that gives you extra grenades, then you're not going to have your tactical available half as often as you would before. You'd be surprised. The difference is huge when you don't have that perk on. Now, the nice thing about pairing it with, with phase shift, you can do stuff like that. Like any other projectile weapons, if you're using the L-Star, you can actually shoot, phase shift out, and then you're going to get the kill. It's really nice to do when you're throwing projectiles like that. But if you're using a combo like the grappling hook, it even pairs up better, because you can be really sparing with the grappling hook. If you want, you can just do those really short control bursts, which means that you're going to get a lot out of it, and you're not going to be having those downtimes on your tactical that you would with some of the ones that take longer to recharge. Now, phase shift, you're going to see me use it again, and it's a really good ability. I was using grappling hook, and then somebody got mad that I changed to my phase shift. They took it as a personal insult that I would change my kit. But the thing is, this is a really good ability, and I kind of found the problems with it, so I'm sorry guys, we're going to do a little bit of balance talk. So this is the story. I got a chance to play against somebody that was really good last night, and we were having a good back and forth when I was using the grappling hook. The thing that I really found that happened when he was using phase shift a lot was that sometimes he would just disengage completely, which it's like, okay, he's gone, so be it. But sometimes when he was engaging me, that when you have two charges, it's not so much that it's affecting me and him, it's that it buys so much time in between that the whole engagement changes. There's now possibly my guys jump in, possibly his guys jump in, just a Titan comes in, some of the AI comes in. It's even propagated more when you have things like AI and Titans. On Pilot versus Pilot, at least it's still just the pilots, but when you add more features, oh, you gotta check this guy out. He turns around just before I execute him. And then this guy has an unfortunate spawn. But going back to this balance thing, it's phase shift, it just buys too much time, and I think that's what the problem is. I think either those two things have to happen, like it has to be back-to-back charges, or there's a cooldown in between them, or you can use two charges, but then there's a bigger penalty as you're waiting. So, something has to change, because the time that it kills, that it just lasts so long, right? It's what, like 2 seconds, 4 seconds? It almost turns into like 5 seconds, really, because you reappear. You can really you can milk that time in between before going to go defensive again. Okay, sorry, we're moving on to another part of the video. This is called openers. Now, it just happened to be convenient that the guy threw a blade there and showed that the guy was coming. I was gonna throw that grenade the exact same anyways because there's just a high probability that another pilot's gonna go there. I said this in a lot of strategy videos. At the beginning of the game is when you have the most control because it's kind of like a chessboard. People can only go into so many places, so you know what to expect, at least for those first few seconds in Titanfall. That's why openers are so important. If you've ever opened up the scoreboard a minute into a game and somebody already has their Titan, they're at 9 kills, that's somebody who understands openers. All these things and knowing where they're going to end up showing up on the map is a huge deal. After that, the second thing you want to notice is what kind of player you're playing. And this is really in-depth tactics at this point. I recognize who the good players are, and one of the good things about having a smaller community, guys, is that you start recognizing a lot of gamer tags and you're going to start seeing people in regular lists. I'm starting to recognize a lot of names, and it's also giving me a good idea of how I have to interact with them, because once I know their skill level, I have a better idea of how they're actually going to react to me. But that's pretty much the end of the video, guys. This is just the end because I want to show you that I do actually practice things, and this is how I came to know about the blue line. When I was trying to aim the line, I'm like, well, now I don't have the range. So you have to find that nice middle ground, and with a little bit of practice, I think you can enjoy the frag grenades too. That brings us to the end of the video. If you have anything to add on the frag grenades, make sure to leave that in the comments below. Otherwise, if you want to support my work, make sure to like, subscribe. If you guys can share that video, all that stuff is really appreciated. And we're going to be finishing this video off by killing one crafty pilot, Glider. I love facing off with this guy. He has his mobility down too, so we've had some really good face-offs. He has the Sage tag on right now, but we may be able to change him to the GIR. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'm Paper, cut to you, and I'll see you guys next time. I almost forgot. Alright, let me boot up my game again, and I'm gonna try this grenade frag boost. And I'll be honest, I never even thought about doing this because these things are deadly just when I'm trying to throw them in front of me. This is my first attempt. It is an absolute no-go. Let's try the basic halo jump. Let's go, let's go, let's go. No, that's also a no-go. And after this grenade, I'm starting to feel pretty timid, so I'm just gonna stay on the outside radius. I noticed that there's actually no kind of pushback. So there's no grenade boost. Oh well.